Welcome, race fans. We are here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Southern Motorsports Lazy Days Racing Xfinity Series, and we're finally back here on Max Speed TV 3. How are you doing, Al?
Not too bad, Steve. Glad to be back. Last week, iRacing throwing us a little bit of a curveball and causing some technical difficulties, but these guys still soldiered on and ran last week. We'll get to that later, but what about tonight? We got the, as I call it, the tricky rectangle, as not one corner is the same, and it's very easy to get off a line and into trouble, Steve. It's going to be a big challenge for tonight's racers.
Yeah, you know, I ran with these guys last night in their truck series, and I got to tell you what, it was difficult out there, and a lot of guys had that line down, so we'll see if some of those guys can transfer that into the Xfinity Series cars. Al, I believe you have our point standings as they sit going into this race.
Yeah, after last week, so this is race number 2 of this second round. After tonight, we will be down to the final 4 racers that will be challenging for the Lazy Day Racing's Xfinity Cups here tonight. And we have Keith Haney out front in the point standings, Brad Hicks, Justin McDuff, and Michael Palmer, the last driver in the top 4, which will be transferred on. But we have one more race tonight. Drivers looking on the outside and looking to get into the chase are drivers like Ryan Gamel, Dean Viney, David Howard Jr., and Eric Barilli. Had a disastrous week last week in Charlotte as he sits 24 points out of the cutoff spot. So a big margin. We got 10 points separating 4th and 5th, and so on back. So a lot of drivers having a good week last week, Steve, and then some drivers not having such a good week that find themselves in a deep hole as they come here to the tricky Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
All right, well, we're getting ready to go to qualifying. Let's step away for our national anthem.
Guys.
And now, the most famous words in motorsports. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Welcome back, and we are waiting for those times to start rolling in. It is a big track. These guys do have to go around one time before they can even think about taking a time. And with these, none of the corners are the same, like you said, Al. So it's pretty difficult to get one clean lap in there.
Looking at practice times, it was Chris Grosso that led practice with a 51.245. Steve, I'm kind of embarrassed to say that, but that's about 8/10 better than what I could pull when I was out there testing the setup. So as we wait for times, we have Keith Haney putting the post in the first time. It is quickest at a 51.261. So Keith Haney, our first Xfinity driver. Eric Barilli now posting a good time. Joe Mitchell jumping the top. So the times are starting to come in, and we'll see the leaderboard shuffle up here.
And I was talking to Paul last night. You got to watch Keith Haney. Keith Haney came out to Indianapolis in the Cup Series, first time racing in SoMo, and came away with a win. So you definitely got to watch him to see if he can pull off another win here tonight.
And kind of a Cinderella story, if you remember, Steve. We had one competitor drop out of the chase, drop out of the series for personal reasons, and that allowed Keith Haney into the chase for the Xfinity Cup, and he's looking to capitalize in it. Leads the points over Brad Hicks, so it would kind of be a Cinderella story if Keith can keep the momentum going as we move forward in this chase. Remember, the top 4 after tonight will be racing for the Cup.
And Chris Grosso has taken over the pole for the moment. These guys do have 3 laps to go around, and I can't remember if they only have 5 minutes, but that is a short amount of time to get those 3 laps in.
Yeah, you pretty much got to get out on the racetrack within the first minute to make sure you're going to get those 3 laps, or run 1 lap, reset the car, come back into the pits, and go out again to make sure that you get that perfect lap with the fresh tires and all whatnot. And they're all look like to be chasing that 42 of Chris Grosso. David Howard Jr. jumping up to your number 2 spot. Travis Wall, Joe Mitchell, and Keith Haney rounding out your top 5 right now, Steve. So 2 out of the 8 chase drivers inside the top 5.
And we do have 29 drivers registered for tonight's event. And it does look like right now we have 23 taking time. And is Adam Baker still in the chase right now?
Adam Baker is not out of the chase, so he could be, or is out of the chase, so he's not in contention for the win or for the championship. So he could be playing spoiler tonight, as we've seen him multiple times. He comes up through the field and he seems to be pretty decent to get there. So we'll find out if he will be able to get there. It looks like the one driver showing up past the time has been removed from the race, Steve. So it looks like we have 28 competitors that'll take time and start tonight's race.
But you just said Michael Palmer is in the chase, right?
Yeah, he sits 4th right now. He is hanging on. He is the last driver inside the points. It's Michael Palmer, Justin McDuff, Brad Hicks, and Keith Haney are the 4 that would transfer if before tonight's race. After tonight's race, that could be mixed up, as Ryan Gamel, Dean Viney, David Howard Jr., and Eric Barilli are the bottom 4 that are facing elimination.
Well, Michael Palmer did not take a time tonight, so it'll be interesting to see if he can fight through the field. But Al, I believe we are heading to the grid.
Yeah, we are. Last minute instructions coming from race director as the cars start to get up onto the grid, Steve. As we take a look at tonight's starting lineup, it'll on the pole in car number 42. It is Chris Grosso with a time of 51.198, setting the fastest time in qualifying. David Howard Jr. will start on the outside of the front row in position number 2. Starting 3rd is car number 21. That's Travis Wall, and out to his outside, the number 54 of Joe Mitchell. Keith Haney slated to start 5th. Outside of him, the 56 of Sean Lejeune will start 6th. 7th starting spot belongs to Jackson Allen. Eric Barilli in car number 14 will start 8th. Chris Samard will start 9th in the Exide Batteries, car number 27. And Ryan Gamel in car number 83 rounds out your top 10.
Starting in 11th tonight will be Justin McDuff in the 20. The 86 of Brad Hicks will be starting in 12th. Joe Owen of 5-0 Motorsports will be starting in 13th tonight. David Gainforth will be starting 14th. Jim Locking in that 91 machine will be starting 15th tonight. Daniel Haney will be starting 16th. Jeff Glockner, the 88, will be starting 17th tonight. The 99 of Paul Zoda will be starting in 18th. Stephen Bird, the 26 machine, will be starting 19th. And the 616 of Michael Dorsey will be starting 20th tonight.
Starting 21st on tonight's grid is the number 58 of Justin Kern. Outside of him, the number 72 of John Estes. Len McNeese will start in the 23rd spot in the car number 84. To his outside, the number 44 of Billy Waters. Dean Viney, a chase contender, will be starting deep on the grid, starting 25th. His outside, Adam Baker in car number 48. 27th starting spot is James Haney and Michael Palmer, rounding out your 28-car field.
So a pretty good sized field out here tonight as we get ready to go racing. And like you said, there is a lot of drama that can take place here because a lot of guys fighting for those final 4 spots heading into the end of the season.
Yeah, and one driver that has a great starting spot on the front of this one is at number 7, the Razorback Chevy Camaro of David Howard Jr. Had a disastrous race last week in Charlotte. Puts it up on the outside of the front row. He's got a big deficit to climb out of, and he can do it, but he's going to have to win or stay within inside the top 5 and hope for some of the drivers ahead of him to have some trouble. And one driver having trouble, Steve, is Ryan Gamel. He has electrical issues. His car is on pit road, and he looks like he will miss the green flag, but should be able to get back on track as long as he's able to reconnect.
Yeah, you get a couple cautions here and there. Did he fall through?
Yeah, it looks like he
Oh.
lost complete connection as they come down the front stretch. The pace car going to take the hard right-hand turn, so we'll look for him, but the green flag is clenched in the flagman's right hand as he will throw it. Green silk is flying. We're underway for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway race here as they get ready to go down in the turn number 1.
And I can tell you firsthand, coming off that front stretch, I mean, I don't know about a lot of these drivers, but I know personally that is the most tense moment on this track.
It is, and right now running side by side does not help anything as these corners are very tight, very line sensitive, and these cars do get aero tight in these instances as it looks like a battle for your race lead. As it looks like Grosso with it, but here comes Travis Wall right to the back bumper. Side by side back there for your third spot between Keith Haney and Day and Howard.
And we are watching the front battle here right now, and it looked like Chris Grosso may be trying to run the line right now. We saw him go to that high side, and when he saw the 21 making a straight line shot on the bottom, he jumped down there to block him.
Yeah, right now everybody trying to fight for that bottom line. You want to be right around that white line around here at Indy. If you're up out of there, you're kind of in no man's land. As you can see, looks like Travis Wall trying to peek a little bit to the outside, but you want to stay where the asphalt is dark, Steve. If you get outside where it's lighter up there, you're going to run into trouble as they work down this long back straightaway down in the turn number 3. Keith Haney's come to dance. It's a 3-way dance now.
And the 21 last night in the Truck Series here at Indianapolis, he put on a fight. I'm not sure where he ended up finishing, but he was, at one point they said that he had checked out from the rest of the field, so expect the 21 to give it all he's got tonight.
So the top 4 cars, Chris Grosso, Travis Wall, Keith Haney. That time Wall slips up a little bit, almost tags the outside retaining wall. He'll keep it off there, keeping those fenders straight. And with the straightaways being so long, and if you get a little miss up as we have Haney swinging down the inside on this long back straightaway, Haney's going to make up some ground on that for that mistake that Wall had, as it looks like Wall will just let him pass. You do not want to try to enter these corners. Side by side, it will not end well and ends up losing momentum. So you mess up that line just a little bit, Steve, and it'll cost you position. And Travis Wall finds that out early as he moves back to your number 3 spot.
Yeah, he does, and it's a long race out here tonight, so we're going to see a lot of battling. And if we keep it green, expect about 2 or 3 pit stops. They're able to stretch it. They may get 3, but if I remember, they were getting about 25 laps a run last night.
As they keep it, as you said, with that, it will be interesting to see the green flag pit stops. It's really easy to speed on this long pit road. Pit road speed is 60 miles an hour. You're running around here at 188, 190 miles an hour on the straightaways. So you got to slow down your car, get on the pit road, and not speed, and it's going to feel like you are going at a snail's pace. So it'll be interesting to see how many speeding penalties we will see tonight, not only during green flag pit stops, but during yellow as looks like Haney takes a peek inside. He'll tuck it back in. So the top 4 cars have separated themselves from 5th by over a second right now, Steve.
Yeah, we are looking at the top 5 right now, and you see that our biggest mover right now is Keith Haney, but Jackson Allen and Eric Burley from 7th and 8th to 4th and 5th, so they are trying to get up there.
And Borelli looked pretty good on the long run during practice. So one of those chase drivers that needs to make something happen. He comes in 24 points behind the cut line. He needs to make something happen and hope that one of the guys up in front of him has issues. But he's got a big hole to dig himself out of and fill back in. As we look at the battle for your race lead, the 42 of Grosso. Haney kind of just right there keeps peeking it down the inside. And when you do that a little bit, big Michael Palmer disconnecting from the race. So something going awry on Michael Palmer. That'll pretty much end his chase hopes, Steve.
Yeah, that's a tough break for a chase driver. You don't normally see that going into an elimination race, but that'll pretty much do it for Michael Palmer, who I believe was on the bubble.
Yeah, Palmer was on the bubble. He was in it by just a little bit over a certain amount of points. Palmer was to the plus side. Let's see here. Palmer was on the bubble driver. He just kind of pulled over and pulled off. So hopefully everything is all right in the number 31 camp. But tough break, as that'll probably end his chase hopes. So as we have the battle up front, starting to tighten up a little bit more. The 87 of Keith Haney all over the back bumper of the number 42 of Grosso, as those two start to stretch it out over the 21 of Travis Wall, and Jackson Allen having a good showing early here as we work in lap number 7 to put number 8 up on the board. Haney just dipping that left front a little bit lower, getting the corner, get that downforce on them as they run really tight. The cars do get quite an narrow push, as we're already seeing the top 4. They are over 2 seconds in front of 5th, which is Eric Barilli and David Howard doing battle back there for your number 5 spot. So a lot of ground being put distance between the top 4 as they run single file. So we'll see what happens here later on in this event. 65 laps is the distance at Indianapolis here tonight in the Lazy Days Xfinity Southern Motorsports Series.
We get a caution, though. It takes away that whole entire gap that front 4 has been fighting for. But, you know, these guys have pretty much separated themselves for who are the contenders to win this race tonight. And I tell you what, Keith Haney, right there on that tail end of the 42, I expect to see him try to get the lead about halfway through this race.
Keith Haney comes in leading the points, knows if he finishes where he is or wins the race, he punches the ticket to race for a championship. He'll be one of 4 that will be able to contend for the championship here in the Lazy Days Xfinity Series. But there's a lot of drivers that want to play spoiler, and one car in front of them, that's Chris Grosso. Missed the chase this year, but looking to move it on as Jackson Allen pulls to the inside. Car number 9 of Jackson Allen taking a look on the inside of Travis Wall as they run side by side down to the turn number 3. Give the position to Allen. So Allen moving up to your 3rd spot.
What has happened to that 21 machine? We saw him up front for the longest. Oh, actually, he was running in 2nd, right behind Chris Grosso, and he has been dropping back since.
Hasn't said anything on the radio, so I'm wondering if he's not liking the way the car feels in dirty air, Steve. These cars do pick up a nasty push, and as you see him push up a little bit off of that corner, a little bit wider than probably what he would want to be. That's scrubbing off speed. He's not getting to the corner quite as well as some of these other guys. So maybe he goes to school, tries to move up his line or backs up his corners a little bit. We'll see if he can close them in. But Barilli sits there in your number 5 spot as he looks to chase him down. But he is 2.2 seconds behind this the top 4.
And we are taking a look at Jackson Allen sitting in that 3rd spot right now. He's got about 0.2 seconds to get up to Keith Haney, and he is now 0.7 ahead of Travis Wall.
Yeah, something going on with that 21. Either not liking the driver line, he's just not getting through the corners as well as the cars in front of him. He almost taps the wall every time through the short chute and then off the corner. As Haney gets a run off the corner, we got a bid for your race lead down the backstretch. Keith Haney looking to the inside of Grosso. He's going to back out of it and tuck it back in line. They head into turn number 3, but he almost had that run. You wonder if he's just testing it, seeing how much of a run he can get early right now, Steve.
Yeah, we saw, I believe the 42 may have tapped the wall, and I think Haney may have dropped to that bottom line to just avoid if he was going to bounce off the wall. And he had a shot, but he backed out of it and thought better of it to try to test those waters too much early on in this race. Jackson Allen has caught up to these guys and has closed that gap. So 3-car battle for the lead.
And you gotta wonder how much Keith Haney will push it. If he starts to get pressure from Allen, does he let him have the position? He's got the most to lose right now. If he gets wrecked out early in this race and finishes in the 27th position, that puts him.
If he wrecks out, he will be in 26th tonight, as Michael Palmer, Ryan Gemmel, and Ronald Etheridge all disconnected so far in this race. 12 laps down, though, and we're about 10 away from our first pit stops tonight. And we are having a little bit of technical issues with TeamSpeak. We're trying to get back in. It'll be just one moment. Trying to get Al Smith back in TeamSpeak. And there seems to be an issue with the server here tonight. There we go. We are back in. Let's go back to the booth. Al Smith, we had a little bit of an issue there, but we are back.
Someone unplugged us down there behind the grandstands. As I was saying, right now there's only 2 drivers on the outside looking in that are still in the race. So if any of those have troubles, it kind of locks it in as Haney takes a peek to the inside down to the turn number 1. Grosso's going to give him the spot, but he also brings along the number 9 of Allen. New race leader through the short chute. The 87 Ford Mustang of Keith Haney will take over your top spot, but he also brings the blue oval of the number 9 of Jackson Allen moving up to your number 2 spot. So Grosso going from 1st to 3rd there, Steve, and I'm glad that we're back.
Yeah, what an inside run by the 87, and what a smart move by the 9 to go right underneath them and slide into that 2nd spot. And Chris Grosso goes from the lead all the way back to 3rd.
As they open up the gap back there, the battle is for your 8th spot, Steve, between the 86 of Brad Hicks and the 20 of Justin McDuff. Justin McDuff with the inside line underneath Hicks off of turn number 4. They're going to drag race down the front stretch side by side. That's going to allow the number 56 of Lejeune, but Hicks will wisely let the 20 of McDuff by, so that'll put Hicks back to your 10th spot, as those were 2 chase drivers battling on the racetrack. So those, I think, are 2 drivers that you're going to have to look for in the championship battle as we head on to next week. But they got about 50 laps left in this one to keep it clean and keep the fenders on her.
Yeah, and let's get an update on where our chase drivers sit at this moment. Eric Burley, who's sitting on the bubble in 8th, currently running in the 7th spot. See if we can find him on the track here really quick. There he is. He's running in that 7th spot, just on the outside looking in right now. And you have David Howard Jr. and the number 7, I believe. Yes, he is in the number 7 Razorback Machine. He is running in that 5th spot. And then you go Dean Viney, who is currently sitting in 24th, so that's not looking good for Dean at the moment. Ryan Gemmel has disconnected. Michael Palmer disconnected. Then you go to Justin McDuff, currently running in that 9th spot. He's kind of safe right now, I would say. Maybe he's on the... right now he is on the edge of maybe not making the Final 4 for the chase. He is currently sitting in 4th, but he is now sitting in 9th on the track at the moment. And then, of course, you go to oh, wait, Justin McDuff is sitting 3rd. Michael Palmer is 4th. He will most likely be out of the chase. Then you go to Brad Hicks, who is sitting in 2nd. He's currently running 10th in tonight's race. And then, of course, you have Keith Haney, who is up front right now. He also has the most points and is leading the chase. So you got to imagine he's happy right now being up front and hopefully signing his ticket to the Final 4 here in the Lazy Days Racing Xfinity Series.
And I'm watching one driver that's really struggling, Steve, is the number 86 of Brad Hicks. Since McDuff has gone by him, he's lost another 4 to 5 positions as he's going to fall back to the 14th position right now as Jim Locking just got by him. So Hicks either saving his equipment right now or he's really struggling to find some speed in that snap-on 86 as looks like Adam Baker making a trip down pit road.
Yeah, he's decided to bring it down early as we're going to start seeing more of these guys come down in the next 7 laps. But Adam Baker, our first one to bring it down pit road, he's decided, I need those fresh tires. I need to get going.
Not a bad play right now. If you're that far behind the race leader, you're going to be that much more quicker as the pace has already dropped from qualifying a little over 2 seconds. So you get fresh tires on there, you're going to be 2 seconds faster as the race leader has a second. Keith Haney's put a second on Chris Grosso in Jackson Allen. So the field really stretching out as a typical Indianapolis race. But Haney out there enjoying the clean, fresh air for now as we get ready to see some green flag pit stops continue as the top 10 all stay on the racetrack right now.
Yeah, and I think the most interesting part of this race will be these guys do have to stay down on that apron all the way around turn number 2. So how many guys are going to push it coming out of the pits and lose control going into that exit ramp on turn number 2?
Yeah, and Adam Baker just comes out in front of the 4th place car of Travis Wall after that round of pit stop. So he's right there in the race leader, but he did lose a lap. That's how far back, or how far ahead they were, as it looks like Allen's going to pull off into the pit lane now. So your 3rd place driver peels off. We'll see how many more start to follow suit as they come down pit road. But it is Jackson Allen on pit road right now, giving up the 3rd spot.
And we had one other one pulling off pit road. I believe that was the 88 of Jeff Glockner. Trying to find him on the track. He is on the exit ramp right now, so I imagine he will be happy to have those fresh tires as he will be 1 lap down. And I believe Jim Locking also came down into the pits. Billy Walters. And I am not showing John Estes off of pit road at the moment.
Yeah, so right now these drivers that are short pitting, Steve, they want this to go through. They want the whole entire cycle to go through. That'll put them back on the lead lap, and we'll see how much ground they actually make up or lose. As right now, the top 10 is almost 12 seconds from 1st to 10th. So that's how much of a pace as Chris Samard's going to pull off. So a lot of drivers now, we're really heavy into this as your 2nd place runner, Chris Grosso, is on pit road. So it'll be very shortly, I would venture a guess, we'll see the 87 of Keith Haney on pit road maybe next time by as they work down the backstretch to put Dean Viney down 1 lap.
Yeah, and I also saw the 99 of Paul Zota is going to dip it in, and he's got the 56 of Sean Lejeune, and I believe the 55 of James Haney behind him. A lot of drivers already coming down pit road. And we are I think we have about 4 laps left in this fuel run. So how long does Keith Haney... Oh, there he is. Keith Haney coming down pit road. Actually, David Howard Jr. staying out. He's going to lead a lap.
Get an all-important race bonus point for leading a lap, which could make or break making it into the top 4. But right now, it's all about not speeding on pit road as we see Keith Haney rolling down the long front straightaway, giving up the race lead to David Howard as he makes it down into his pit stall. He'll make the hard left-hand turn and cruise over the wall. Right sides are being lifted up right as we speak as the crew is on it, as we got a lot of lead lap drivers on pit road. Right side's already on the 87, left side's going up as he will be away with a full tank of Sunoco race fuel. We'll see where he blends out and if he's going to hold on to your race lead once this cycle gets through.
And we're still waiting for the 7 of David Howard Jr. to come down pit road. It does look like he will bring it down this time around. And he's going to dip in with the... Who's that ahead of him? It looks like the 71 of Dean Viney. So this is where things are going to start to shake out. Does the 84 of Lynn McNeese take the lead, or does he bring it down pit road? And he will bring it down pit road last second. We'll see where Joe Owen currently sits on the track. He is coming down pit road as well. Daniel
Another
Haney
driver.
behind him.
Sorry about that, Steve. Another driver just taking it behind the wall. The 56 of Sean Lejeune, who started up inside the top 10 tonight, has taken the 56 behind the wall here and will be retired, as he is slated right now in the 23rd spot, but he will continue to fall. But a tough night for Sean Lejeune.
And now we have a new race leader, Jackson Allen, out front. And he has not been scored as the race leader just yet, but he is roughly 5 seconds ahead of second place Keith Haney.
It'll be interesting to see when scoring updates where exactly everybody falls in. But Jackson on and off pit road much better than Keith Haney charging the pit road. So you can make up some ground getting on and off pit road, but you have to be very aggressive. But it's kind of a fine line, Steve. You can't be over aggressive, or you're going to be coming back down pit road to serve a pass-through penalty for speeding.
And it does look like Jackson Allen is able to kind of keep Keith Haney at a distance, still at 4.9 ahead. And he is able to kind of drive that thing. He's got nobody around him. He's just got to focus on his spots, make sure he hits his points just right. And David Howard Jr., who led a couple laps before the pit cycle finished, he is now back in 22nd. So he's got some work to do coming back around the track. But Jackson Allen is out front leading his first laps of the night, and he's got to be liking it right now.
He's got that clean air, and he has the rest of the competition in his back mirror. He drives the Lazy Dayz Ford Mustang down in the turn number 1 as he is enjoying it. That time, Keith Haney just taking a little bit off, less than 1/10 of a second off that lap. So right now, it's just about getting back in your rhythm. Live green flag stops are really hard, Steve. You kind of got to just ride them out, and it's hard to get back into your rhythm. And Indianapolis is such a rhythm track that once you break your rhythm or get a little bit off guard, it's really easy to end up in the outside retaining wall or not push it as hard. So the mix-up on the front is Jackson Allen is your race leader. Keith Haney is in second. Chris Grosso, Travis Wall, and Joe Mitchell rounding out your top 5.
And I was looking at when these guys stopped. Jackson Allen actually took his pit stop on lap number 19, and Keith Haney went down on 21. So Jackson Allen went down a little bit early. I expect we'll see him to come back in early, but maybe he's got this thing. Oh, he's gonna slide into turn number 2. He actually hit the wall coming off the corner. No caution. He is down on the infield, and he's going to hit the wall.
Oh, tough break. So, it must be a right rear tire or something going down on the Lazy Dayz 9 Ford Mustang of Jackson Allen. He's got heavy left front damage, and that's going to give the race lead back to Keith Haney. Tough break for Jackson Allen as he brings it back under speed down the backstretch. But he's losing a lot of time, and that damage is not going to help him at all. He's shaking the car to see if anything else is wrong with it, but it looks like he just might have had a tire go down or something, Steve.
Yeah, I expect we'll see him coming down pit road to try to get that damage repaired. We'll see if he can stay out there and run some competitive laps. But we'll go back out front to our new race leader, Keith Haney. As now we are back in a 3-car. They got some distance between them, but you do have 3 cars up here kind of fighting for that position. Keith Haney, Chris Grosso back in second. He's got about a second to make up to get back to Keith Haney. And then you go about another 0.7, 0.6 back to third. Travis Wall making his way back up the field.
And so the team must have made some nice adjustments as the 21 of Wall starting to close back in on the 42 of Chris Grosso. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here with those two get together, if they kind of try to work together to catch the 87 of Keith Haney. So right there, what that showed me, that round of pit stops, is you can pit early, Steve, and gain some track position. We saw Adam Baker come in. He was running in about the 11th position before he came in on pit road. He's now up to 6th, so he pitted much earlier, but gained so much ground. So now I would start to wonder if the other drivers take notice to this, and if we'll start seeing short pitting, or if they'll start working backwards. Because right now, we are just under, or a little over 50 laps to go in this race, or under 40 laps to go in this race. So start to wonder if they start counting backwards. When can they make it? When can they hit their window to make it to the end?
Yeah, and if these guys want a short pit, I think the earliest they can make their last stop would be, you'd have to say lap 45, maybe, or 46.
Yeah, we saw the longest run there was about 22 laps on a gallon of tank of gas. Oh my! We had a flat tire there for a minute, Steve. Whoa. So yeah, just sitting there doing the math, but I think we're the last time we probably see a car on pit road, and they could probably stretch it a little bit. With probably the earliest would be probably lap 40. That would be a 25 lap run to the end, barring no cautions. If we get a caution, that's going to hike up the gas mileage, but I think lap 40 would probably be the earliest we see someone try to make their last pit stop. But then they're really going to save gas, but they don't have to stop again, and they can stretch out that lead and win it on fuel mileage.
Yeah, but I think the bigger thing will be, can you make 25 laps on a single set of tires? Because it is tough to keep the tires underneath you here. And we saw it with who was up front? It was Jackson Allen. We saw him kind of burn his tires up quick, trying to keep that lead over Keith Haney. And he is now falling back to 10th.
He's falling back to 10th after that little mishap, but everybody keeping it clean and green so far. I'm surprised I didn't bring out a yellow, but he was out of harm's way and was able to keep it rolling. So iRacing officials not throwing the yellow, and we stay green. As the battle for second starting to shape up, Wall is within 3/10 of Chris Grosso as the battle rages on in the turn number 3.
Yeah, and you got to start to wonder, has Travis Wall's team figured out how to help him tonight? Because he has improved a lot since those first pit stops.
I've watched his line, Steve. His line has really changed. He's not swinging it up high out to the wall like he was early in that first run, the first 20-lap run that he was in and fell. So I think he's went to school and he's figured out, all right, this is what I need to do. This is what the faster guys are doing right at the moment. And he's reeled in the number 42 of Chris Grosso. And they are starting to gain in on the 87 of Keith Haney just a little bit. This lead is down to 1.1 seconds over Chris Grosso as those two run nose to tail. Maybe they're starting to close in on your race leader.
And we're seeing Travis Wall actually pinch it down to the corner as far as he can go. And you got to start to wonder, does he maybe push it down too far and lose control of that car?
There's a fine line down there. You can't get too close to that curbing. The curbing really upsets the car, will send you into the spin cycle. But at the same time, you can get down there, and there's a lot of grip down there below that white line or even on the white line. As Chris Grosso, now something's going on with Keith Haney. Something not agreeing with his 87 as the race leads down so under a second, or maybe he is saving fuel, trying to stretch fuel this time to make it a one more stop race.
Yeah, we are looking at that 3-car battle right now. Grosso has been fighting that car to get it up front and trying to be a spoiler tonight. Keith Haney's still out front though, leading laps on his 14th lap lead, coming to 15 laps lead when they come around this time. And it looks like Travis Wall starting to back off at times on the straightaway.
That time he almost kisses the outside wall and gets it back in line. So whenever he got up there closer and the balance of the car goes away, you get a little bit tight behind there. You got to duck that left front underneath in clean air, the front of the car in front of you, to make that front end kind of stick. As you see him do it right here, you see Grosso kind of takes a higher entry and then arcs it down to the bottom. That's a very nice line to run around here, and then you get that nice straight drive off of the corner. And it seems to be really working for him as he works off for turn number 4. Two different lines right there that we're watching them work down the front stretch. Grosso and Wall both taking different techniques that work here. Right now we're seeing Keith Haney stretch out his lead, that time a tenth quicker over these two that are battling. Wall right to the back bumper that time of Grosso. So as these two do battle, Haney will just start to pull away as we are looking at 40 laps to go, and then they cross the line.
Yeah, we were actually sitting inside of the 21 of Travis Wall, and he was, I mean, you could tell just how hard he was driving that car into the corners.
I always love doing those onboard shots as you get to really get a feel for what these drivers are doing, their throttle control. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, these cars, they're the Xfinity car, not as much horsepower, but these cars are a handful to drive. At any moment, they can step out underneath you. There's a lot to really go on. As we're getting reports down from pit road that Jackson Allen has taken his car behind the wall and has retired, Steve. So that damage must have been more than what we thought.
Yeah, tough break for the number 9. He was sitting... Was he in the chase? He was not in the chase, but he was definitely pushing that car, trying to get a win out here tonight. So we have eliminated Ryan Gemmel and Michael Palmer from the chase, leaving us with 6 drivers: Keith Haney, Brad Hicks, Justin McDuff, Dean Viney, David Howard Jr., and Eric Barilli.
And taking a look once again on how the points lined up, it was Keith Haney and Brad Hicks, which were safely, I would say the top 3 were safely, and 11 points separated third from the 5th place guy. But Michael Palmer was the bubble car. So right now, Dean Viney and Dean Viney not having the night he needs right now, but the driver looking to capitalize is Eric Barilli, who was about 24 points behind the cutoff line. So it'll be interesting to see how it all strikes out, or will we see the top 4 stay as they are, as the points were kind of spread out after last week's race at Charlotte. So like I said earlier, some drivers having a very good race, Steve. Some drivers having a bad race, and in these 2 race shootouts in the chase, you can't have a bad race. You have to have, you know, a solid top 5, top 10, and I think it's going to have to come down to whoever can win in the last segment.
Yeah, and I actually talked with Eric earlier on in the week, and he was mentioning, you know, he had a bad finish last week, and he was he said he had an outside shot of getting in. He was just going to go out, drive the car as best he could, and hope for the best.
And he's driven his car. He started 8th. He's up to the 5th spot, so he's doing everything he can. But he sits 5.6 or 7 seconds, almost 8 seconds behind your race leader. So I think he's really going to need a caution or work some pit strategy, as we could see some drivers getting into that final window as we're looking to put lap 39 up on the board, Steve. We're almost inside that window where I think guys could possibly stretch it. And if you're an Eric Barilli who really needs to win, do you chance it? Do you make that bold move and try to chance it to get yourself into the final 4?
And I believe that was Adam Baker coming off pit road, already taking his pit stop. He may have taken it a little bit early. I don't know if they have enough fuel to make 26 laps. But yeah, if you're Eric Barilli, what do you got to lose? You're sitting at 8th right now in the points, and you are the last driver. You already have 2 of the chase drivers out, as Keith Haney does go around Dean Viney, who is a chase driver. What do you got to lose? You might as well take that early stop, try to get out there. But knowing Eric, I have seen him race in the past. He will run that car as dry as he can, and then he will bring it down pit road, hoping to get a caution before he has to bring it down.
As we see the pit stop cycle starting to hit, we have the 99 of Paul Zota on pit road right now as Keith Haney working through the corners. We watch the 42 of Chris Grosso and Travis Wall make it past Dean Viney. So Viney down 2 laps now as we got drivers on pit road making their green flag pit stops. Baker was one of them as he comes right out behind them.
Oh, Paul Zota lost control. We're going to have a caution. Oh, man. Paul Zota lost control going into pit road, and it looks like he may have taken out Brad Hicks. Wow.
Looked like he tried to slow down off the corner, and it kind of just got loose, comes up, swings out there. Oh, hard hit. That was Len McNeese that he got into. So our first yellow coming out for the 99 of Paul Zota after hard contact with the 84 of Len McNeese, whose car is pretty much used up. He'll need to bring that car to the service of the Western Auto Parts crew. And I think they're going to need to make a trip to Western Auto Parts to get that car fixed up, Steve.
Yeah, and it looks like Paul may have pinched down a little too much coming off of 4. I don't know if he was actually planning to go to the pits, but by the time I saw him, it looked like he was flying off the pit road or the entrance. But he comes straight up into the 84 of Len McNeese, who will T-bone him. So we'll have to make sure the 99 of Paul Zota is all right in that car, and the 84 Len McNeese, who actually got a little airborne there, went up on his back 2 tires. We'll have to make sure those guys are okay.
Yeah, it looked like, as I mentioned earlier, the inside, I don't know if we can get another look there. If you watch on the 99 of Paul Zota coming off of the 4th turn, he kind of clips that inside rumble strip, and I think it just upset the car enough where it slid out of control coming to pit road, and he did a really nice job trying to lock it down, but it just hooked right on him, and Len McNeese nowhere to go, Steve. So tough break, but we are under our first yellow, and some of these drivers, this is what they needed.
Yeah, we were taking a look on board with Len McNeese as he makes contact with the 99 Paul Zota. They're saying you have nowhere to go, and then they're saying Len had literally nowhere to go. He was either hit Paul, hit the wall. Either way, you're going out of the race.
Yeah, he was jammed up jelly tight coming there. He had nowhere to go. As race leaders are on pit road, Steve, making their pit stop. So, will we see someone try to do a 2-tire stop? Was that strategy played out last night in the Truck Series, or was it 4 tires pretty much all the way?
I mean, at this point, you have ran roughly between 20 and 15 laps on those tires. You've got to take 4.
Oh, and Chris Grosso with an electrifying pit stop. He's going to come out in front of Keith Haney. So Grosso, who led the race earlier, now out in front of Keith Haney. What a nice pit stop by the 42 crew to get him out first in that round of pit stops.
Yeah, we are taking a look to see where they round out. The top 10 did round out after their pit stops. Keith Haney falls back to 2nd. Chris Grosso moves up to 1st. Travis Wall will remain in 3rd. Joe Mitchell falls back to 6th. Eric Barilli will move up to 4th. Michael Dorsey will move up to 5th. Justin McDuff will, I believe, remain in 7th. Brad Hicks remained in 8th. Justin Kearns remained in 9th. And David Howard Jr. stays in his 10th spot. But more importantly, Chris Grosso takes over the lead from Keith Haney.
And I'm not too sure. I think the 91 of Jim Lockey and Chris Samard, were they on pit road when the yellow came out, Steve, or are they going to be a wave around car? As they're right now up in front of our race leaders, I believe they're going to be a wave around, but I thought maybe one of them was on pit road. You know, this really helps out and will probably gain the race lead is the 48 of Adam Baker, as he had already pitted before that yellow.
Yeah, that's definitely going to kind of help him out here. It was the 88 of Jeff Glockner who was on pit road right before that. I think it was the lap before the caution came out. because I think you called him Paul Zoda. I was looking to see where Paul was at because I saw he was not on pit road. It was the 88. They do have kind of similar color schemes. But as soon as we flipped to Paul,
wish he was on pit road, though.
Yeah, as soon as we flipped to Paul, that's when we saw the accident unfolding.
Yeah, their cars are very, very close, so I apologize for that. But Chris Grosso, what an electrifying pit stop that team had to pit their car out in the front spot now. And look who's sitting there in fourth. We were just talking about him, saying that he needs to have a good run and hope for some bad luck for some other drivers. And Eric Burley now within striking distance of your race leader.
Yeah, there goes that gap he had between them. So he's definitely going to be pushing that car as hard as he can, trying to get a win here tonight or finish ahead of, I believe the only driver ahead of him right now who is in the chase is Keith Haney. Is that right?
Yeah, right now ahead of him on track is Keith Haney. Some drivers that were good to the go are behind them, like Brad Hicks and Justin McDuff, but not enough spots in between them right now. But here's the golden question, Steve. Do we see a David Howard that needs to have that win? He needs a win to really even be in the talk of moving into the next round. Does he come down, top off his tank with fuel, and go the distance while these other guys will be iffy on making it? I know the caution laps are going to help. Is that even a possibility, as Travis Wall looks like he's going to be coming? Oh, fakes him out. Oh, he is going to come, but he clips the cone. I wonder if that will be a pit road violation. So Travis Wall on pit road, giving up the number 3 spot.
Just to give you a heads up on, does David Howard have any laps left? Let's go ahead and take a look at his car right now. We can see if he has laps. Actually, well, we can check that in here. Does David Howard Jr. have laps led? He has actually fallen back to 16th. Did he come down pit road?
Yeah, he came back down pit road. So playing the strategy, it was almost like I was talking to him. He comes down pit road, he's putting tires back on the car, and probably filling it up with fuel. Is I think we're going to be right at the pit window. I think the guys were getting between 20 and 21 laps. We got about 20 laps to go on a tank of fuel. So he's going to have just that little bit more. I like the play call. I like the play call that this driver has made. Same with the 21 of Travis Wall. I like it, Steve.
Yeah, and I'm trying to do a little bit of math here. We're trying to figure out where or who would make the cut right now. For now, while I'm trying to do that, let's go out front to Keith Haney as they double him up. And now, just in case I missed the start, because I'm trying to do this here really quick, why don't you get us going here?
All right, so the field is tied up 2-2, looking for the first restart of tonight. Is the green flag is in Steve Meyer's right hand up on the flag stand, looking over this beautiful prepared race cars that have gone for battle for 44. Will be 20 laps to go when they cross the line. It's going to be pretty close on fuel, I believe, for some of these drivers. Is the Chris Grosso, Keith Haney have the field in check. Green flag is up. Steve will finally throw it. Green flag is up. Great restart by the 87 on Haney. He's almost got a nose out front. He does. It's a drag race down to turn number 1. Chris Grosso to the inside. Haney on the outside. And here comes Eric Barilli. Barilli working underneath the 616 of Dorsey. That's the battle for third. And Justin McDuff, who's been quietly inside the top 10, looking for a top 5.
Keith Haney flies out to the lead. And now Michael Dorsey, we haven't talked about him all night tonight, but he is running in that third spot. Actually, he's going to fall back to fourth as Eric Barilli moves up into third.
Barilli moves to third. McDuff takes a peek on the inside. He'll run downstairs on the 616 Lowe's machine of Dorsey. So the Fox Shocks car trying to make it forward. He'll tuck it back in line right in front of Joe Mitchell. But Haney's going to come back off and lead after this restart. So no change up front, Steve, as the outside line seemed to work for Haney. We'll see that as Barilli's moved up to your number 3 spot. So he's got 2 more spots that he needs to get through. A win does not advance you automatically to the next round, but it's the maximum amount of points, which is what Eric needs to move on to the round of 4. But he's got some stout cars in front of him as the field kind of back in the single file as they work down the backstretch. We are within 20 laps to go.
And I am still trying to work on where they sit right now. I'm going to figure out here really quick.
Haney will click off another lap. Grosso is in second. And then another chase racer, Eric Barilli, sits third. 4th spot is the number 616 of Michael Dorsey. The 20 of McDuff rounds out your top 5. Joe Mitchell sits 6th. 11 of Daniel Haney has come up 8 spots so far in this race. He sits in the 8th spot. And 9th is Travis Wall. David Gainforth rounding out the top 10. So that's how your top 10 look as they work down the backstretch. And don't look now, but Brad Hicks starting to rebound. We saw him fall earlier, but Mr. Top 5 is now back into the 7th spot and looking for more.
Yeah, and I think if I'm putting this right, with 18 to go, Eric Barilli sitting in that 4th spot. Ryan Gemmel and Michael Palmer, who are sitting 4th and 5th, are pretty much done for the night. Dean Viney right now sitting in 20th is looking on the outside in, and David Howard Jr. currently sitting in 13th. He needs to get closer to Eric Barilli here.
So that's the battle within the race. We have the battle on the track, which Grosso starting to close in on the 87 of Haney. But the real battle is for who will move on to the round of 4. As you heard Steve say, Barilli is in right now, but Howard Jr. could change that by moving a few spots closer. Haney's going to move the inside to break the draft as Grosso is within striking distance of your race lead.
And what does David Howard Jr. have to do to move on to the next round? He has to finish 5 spots back from Eric Barilli to tie him. He's got to finish 4 back to
so right now
beat
he's
him.
9 spots out as Howard Jr. sits 12th, as Barilli sits 3rd. So that's 9 spots. So if Howard moves up 5 more spots, Steve, it'll almost be a deadlock. Does it go? I don't know what the tiebreaker is.
Yeah, I am not sure. I would imagine it would be the top 5s, and Eric Barilli has 3 to Ryan Gemmel's 2. But David Howard Jr. does have the 1 win. Or excuse me, they both have a win. So I think it would come down to, if it's top 5s or top 10s, it's got to go to Barilli.
It'll be interesting to see as Howard still sits there in the 12th spot. As you see Haney starting to move around the track, trying to break that draft, trying to get the cars as he'll go all the way down to the grass, as Grosso does not follow him down there as he stays up to the outside wall. So interesting lines, and the 87 of Haney will swing it back to the outside and get that arc down in the turn number 3. So Howard up to your 11th spot now as we look at that battle. Him and the 58 of Kearns. Kearns will give way, so give 1 more spot to Howard Jr., and Barilli sitting there about 0.3 of a second off of your number 2 spot as that gap is starting to grow. So it works the other way too, Steve. If Barilli starts to lose spots, it's going to come down to crunch time.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to, can he keep that car underneath him? As once again, David Howard Jr. in 11th, he's got to get up to the 8th position to tie him. So it'll be interesting to see if David Howard Jr. can get up there.
And his time to do so is winding down as this time by will be lap 52 up on the board. So out of 65, so it's kind of go time. You gotta get everything you can get right now and your chase is on the line. As now we see the snake go up and down the front straightaway. Is the 87 of Keith Haney still showing the way, but Chris Grosso is still there. You just can't shake him yet. So Steve, right now that puts David Howard is up to the 9th spot, but he's got to gain about a second to catch the 86 of Brad Hicks. So he's 1 spot out of tying the number 14 of Barilli. As he sits 9th, that is exactly 6 spots separating those two drivers. That's the chase. That's the bubble. Your season's on the line right now. You have to push it as hard as you can. I wonder if the crews are telling or if the drivers are even aware of the situation.
And we are working on seeing if we can get a live feed of Eric Barilli. Trying to get that worked on here and for just a moment, but for now, we are seeing this battle for the chase unfold.
Chris Grosso that time down the front straightaway took a peek to the inside in car number 42 as he looked underneath the 87. So the 87 of Haney, he's got a deck lid full of the number 42 of Grosso, and we're really starting to close back in on the top two as they battle it out.
All right, and I think we have this set up. Let's give this a shot. We do have a live feed into Eric Barilli's car, so we will keep the action on the race, and we're going to take a look to see what he's seeing and how he's doing in that car. So why don't we flip to this really quick and see if this works for us tonight. There we go. You're seeing inside of Eric Barilli's car and seeing what he's seeing live on the track tonight. And Keith Haney, we got to look up front at him because he is still swerving around out there trying to stay in front of the 42 of Chris Grosso.
He's trying to shake the 42 of Chris Grosso like a bad habit, but Chris is not doing allowing that to happen, as every time Haney moves, so does Grosso. So they're drafting down the back. That time Haney just kind of hangs it in one line. It's about a 2/10 of a second race lead for Keith Haney as those two run nose to tail. We're really about a second behind. Joe Mitchell up to 4th and Dorsey rounding out your top 5, but the battle is for your race lead. Grosso all over the back bumper. He's got 10 laps to do it. Can he get by the 87 of Keith Haney? Is he just setting them up? Does he have a weak point where he's a little bit better? I think getting into the corner is where he's a little bit better right now, Steve, as we look at both the battles on the racetrack, as Howard has now gotten up into the 7th spot. So 4 spots separating Barilli and David Howard Jr., and I think that would give the spot to Howard Jr. right now as a bid for your race lead. Side by side down the front stretch.
10 to go. Things are starting to heat up here as Chris Grosso is going to try to take it away from Keith Haney. And
side by side
I
right on the door.
want to say Keith Haney in second is a better bid for Eric Barilli, as it's going to take a point away from the 87.
As the 87 struggles back on the outside to hold on to your race lead, as Barilli's under attack by the 54 of Joe Mitchell. Mitchell to the inside. A lot on the season on the line for Barilli. He's got to fight him tooth and nail. Side by side out of into the short chute. Down in 3 and 4. It'll be Mitchell on the inside. Barilli on the outside. And it's still side by side, but that time Barilli will have to make way as Mitchell will move to your number 3 spot.
Yeah, now David Howard Jr. is only 2 cars back with 9 to go. So you got to imagine the 14 of Eric Barilli a little frustrated right now, trying to hold on to his chase hopes tonight.
And David Howard Jr. has pushed back the 20 of Justin McDuff. McDuff has fallen back to the 8th spot as Howard has moved up to 6th, so only 2 spots now separating those two. Not sure what happened there as McDuff was running in the 6th spot, but he lost 2 spots that time by. But it is David Howard who's really charging, Steve.
Yeah, and Eric Barilli starting to get into trouble. Once again, the 616 of Michael Dorsey makes the pass on him.
So that the bubble spot running nose to tail is not literally on the racetrack. It's about 4 seconds separating those 2 drivers on the speedway as Grosso still all over the back bumper of Haney, wearing him out as lap 59 is up on the board. It will be interesting at the end of the race to see how the points shake out. But who's worried about that right now? Other than Barilli and Howard, as the battle up front is fierce. Less than a 1/10 of a second separating them. And Chris Grosso is stalking him. He is all over the back bumper of the 87 of Haney, wearing it out. No contact yet, but you got to wonder when the patience starts running out as we are within 5 laps to go.
And we are taking a look back with David Howard Jr. He's got to make sure to keep that car off the wall. No mistakes from here on out, because one slip up and there goes your chase hopes as we come to 5 to go here in just a moment.
Haney gains a little bit of breathing room, but here comes Grosso with a nice head of steam off the corner. He's going to tuck right back up behind that Ford Mustang of Haney down in the turn number 1. 5 laps to go as it is the number 87 of Chris Haney, or Keith Haney, showing the way. Chris Grosso in your number 2 spot, and I tell you the car that's coming quickly but might run out of time is that 54 of Joe Mitchell.
.42 of Chris Grosso, though, does have his car stuck to the bumper of the 87 of Keith Haney. Time's starting to run out, though. He's going to be looking for his chance any moment now.
Yeah, he gets through the short chute a little bit better, and every time he does, he kind of makes the move to see if he can throw off Haney. When he does that, it loses ground a little bit. He's running a nice line in the corner, a little bit high, arcs it down underneath them, as he'll gain right to the back bumper into turn number 2 now. But it is Keith Haney showing the way, but Chris Grosso is like a predator stalking his prey. At any moment now, he's going to try to make that move as he works down the backstretch, and as it looks like Haney starting to stretch out his advantage now, so that the ghost might have been given up by the 42 of Keith Haney. His tires might have gotten a little bit overheated right now, Steve.
Yeah, Chris Grosso was pushing for that lead pretty hard. You got to imagine those tires are pretty much shot for him tonight.
As we go deeper back in the field is David Howard. He looks to the outside of the 14 of Eric Barilli. That's the battle possibly to make it into the chase is it side by side on the turn number 1. Howard Jr. on the outside, Barilli on the inside. It looks like Barilli has got some right front damage, so that will explain why his car has slowed down a little bit, Steve. But they still run side by side. These drivers know the chase is on the line as Barilli fights back on the inside. Barilli will hold on to the position as David Howard Jr. will get right to the back bumper this time through the short chute through 3 and 4. Barilli knows any chance he has to keep that 7 behind him, but I think it's a little bit too late for that as the 7 Razorback Camaro works down the back stretch, or down the front stretch to click off another lap. And it's a matter of time as now Howard takes a peek to the inside. Barilli will have to give him room, give the position, not quite yet, to the number 7 of Howard as the 14 of Barilli will work back on the outside. The 7 getting down below the white line will clear the 14 of Barilli. Howard Jr. into your top 5.
Tough break for Eric Barilli there, as he was fighting as hard as he could to make the chase tonight.
Battle for your race lead. Steve, sorry to interrupt you off of turn number 4. It is Chris Grosso has got to the inside of Keith Haney. They'll drag race down the front stretch. Keith Haney leads that lap by 1/1000th of a second as they head down to the turn number 1. Still side by side, and here comes Mitchell. It's a 3-person dance up on the front of this one. Haney on the outside. It is the 42 of Grosso on the inside, and the white flag has been displayed. Down the backstretch, it's one driver that's in the chase who has a lot to lose. Grosso to the inside. Here comes Howard, or Mitchell to the outside as well. Haney holds on to the spot so far through the short chute. The 42 of Grosso has to check it up. Here comes Mitchell. Those two will do battle, and that's going to allow Haney to get in there. That time Grosso gets a love tap, and here comes a 616. They're sideways.
Oh!
They're sideways off the corner. Mitchell hard. Here comes Dorsey. Dorsey's going to pick up the win.
Wow! Did not see Dorsey coming out of that, and he's going to walk away with the win tonight. And does Keith Haney drop out of 4th?
So Michael Dorsey, what an amazing move. He's going to go from 4th all the way to your race win off of turn number 4. Chris Grosso ends up 2nd, Keith Haney 3rd, David Howard Jr. will come home 4th, and Brad Hicks rounds out your top 5.
You know, I don't think the overlay even updated with all that.
It sounds like, listening to the team communications right now, that the 42 and the 87 both ran out of gas coming off turn 4, Steve. So it was really close. Howard coming home in the 4th spot, but it was the 42 and the 87 both running out of fuel, and Joe Mitchell, who was all over them, getting the short end of the stick, he's going to come home, it looks like, in the 16th spot. Tough break, but what an amazing finish.
Yes, it was, and you know, I didn't see that coming off the corner. Shows you how intense these races are for these guys. And while we're getting ready to pull these guys for an interview, why don't we go ahead and take a quick break? We'll get these guys pulled in the booth. We'll get our interviews in tonight.
Well, after an amazing finish there, Chris Grosso, I've caught up with you on pit road. It sounds like the gas tank is a little bit empty. What an amazing finish. You had Keith Haney all there in front of you. Talk us through those last couple laps.
Oh yeah, it was awesome those last couple laps. I was talking to Eric a little bit those closing laps, and we kind of knew we were short, and haven't been that close up front in a while. So figured we had to go for it, and I didn't know how close Keith was, but man, it was close. I think we both ran out at the same time.
It was an amazing battle. We did not even see that coming. I figured fuel might be a little bit close, but your car was on rails. That the middle segment there before the first and only yellow tonight, your car seemed to be a little bit off, but your crew did an amazing pit stop, got you out in front of Keith there. Did you have something for him if y'all didn't run out of fuel?
Man, I was hoping. I know we put on a good show. That was fun. I know it's kind of slow throughout a little bit. We kind of settled in, and that ending was fun. So.
Well, who makes it possible for you to come run every week, and you had a good shot here tonight?
Yeah, I just want to thank all you guys here at the SoMo Racing League and everything you guys do. Eric Briley and Lazy Dayz Racing, they kind of brought me on and support me, so I'd like to thank them.
Well, congratulations on a second place finish. Just a little bit short, but I believe Steve is down in Gatorade Victory Lane with tonight's winner.
We actually might have our third place finisher, Keith Haney here. Let's pull him. He was down in the team speak. There he is. We'll pull him up here. We'll interview him first. Keith Haney, you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, what a crazy finish out there tonight. You were pretty much locked into the final four of the chase, but you got to be kind of frustrated with yourself at the end of the race there tonight.
Man, that was a crazy race for sure. Man, to be honest, I'm not too frustrated. I think that race was great. The way that first and second ran out of gas right there, coming out of the last turn, and third place was able to take advantage of it, and he literally ran out of gas too, making it back around. Man, hey, I couldn't be more thrilled to finish third place because I'm honestly didn't think I was going to do that good tonight. So it was a great race, man.
Now, we talked to you before the chase started here, and you were telling us you didn't think you were going to make it. Now you make it into the chase, and you see yourself in the final four. It's got to be pretty exciting for you.
Man, hey, it's funny how the cards fall in your favor. I got my dad and my cousin Daniel out here racing with us every week, James Haney and Daniel Haney, and James Haney's my dad. He's like 60 years old out here racing with some of these boys, and he gets frustrated, and he just because he don't finish as well as he'd like to every week, and I just tell him, just hang in there. You never know when a race is going to pull into your favor, and tonight I feel like really I got lucky to finish third. So, and just man, hey, iRacing is the best thing out there. If there's anybody out there that's watching that don't have iRacing, that's looking into getting iRacing, do it.
All right, and we are looking at the schedule, and it does look like the next 2 weeks will determine our champion. Now, you do head into the final four for the chase here in the Lazy Dayz Racing Xfinity Series. How are you at Texas?
I ain't worth crap, I'll be honest with you. That's my worst track as far as 1.5 miles ago. I don't like it at all, and I'm hoping to be able to practice there a little this week, so because I know these guys ain't gonna make it easy on us. David Howard, he had a good run tonight. David Howard, I'll definitely expect to be battling him for the championship these next two races. So I hope that I can kind of stay a step ahead of everybody.
All right, well, you do start fifth tonight. You finish third. You lead the most laps with 44 laps led. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to tonight?
Everybody out there watching the broadcast tonight, you yourself for putting on these shows. I love going back and watching it, and you guys tune in next Wednesday for another show.
All right, congrats once again on your third place finish, and I believe Al Smith has ran down to Victory Lane to speak with Michael Dorsey.
I just got some Gatorade in victory lane here from Michael Dorsey. And Michael, what an amazing finish. The seas parted, and here comes the 616 charging to pick up the checkered flag. Talk us through those last lap.
Man, those last 3 or 4 laps were just absolutely crazy. With about 3 or 4 to go, I was excited, just kind of settled into 4th position and was trying to get my first top 5 and just trying to watch out what was going on in front of me. I knew everybody was a little bit close on fuel. I was close myself. And coming 1 to go, things started to get a little bit hairy up front. And then going into 3, I backed off way early and was kind of hoping that they'd overdrive the cars, and then coming into turn 4, they all just started backing up to me, and I didn't know if they got together or really what happened. I figured maybe at that point, that the fuel was starting to run out, and luckily I had enough left. I just put the bumper in behind those cars, and like they said, the seas just kind of parted. So to be able to get your first win that way, you couldn't ask for anything better. I'll remember this one for a long time.
I was just going to ask, I was looking up some stats real quick, and it looks like this is your first career win with the Southern Motorsports League and Southern Motorsports Racing League. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Man, you started 20th, didn't have the best qualifying run, and then we had the first half of the race go green, and you kind of pitted here and there, short pitted a little bit to make up some ground. And then that one yellow came in, and it really jumped up the field a little bit. And here you are in victory lane. Who makes it possible for you? And next week we head to Texas. And how are you there?
Well, I think Texas. If you see long green flag runs, tire conservation, that'll be key there. I like the 1.5 miles. I like him a whole lot, but I just want to say thank you to Lazy Days Racing, Jackson Allen, for inviting me to come on board and tell me about the team, and obviously SoMo for everything that they do. Shout out to my family at home who's watching the race there, watching the stream, and finally to all my associates at Lowe's number 616 in Nitro, West Virginia.
Well, congratulations once again. Yeah, that's Michael Dorsey. Tonight's winner at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is he's going to get whisked away here to go kiss the bricks as we get ready to head to Texas next week for the round of 4, the kickoff race of the round of 4. We have Texas and Homestead left. And Steve, what an amazing finish that was.
Yeah, it was. We were going to catch up with David Howard Jr. He did kind of pack it up, get ready for next week, but he will make the final 4. So your chase grid going into next week will be, I believe it will be Justin McDuff, Brad Hicks, Keith Haney, and David Howard Jr. battling it out for the championship. And why don't we take a look at our results for tonight?
Yeah, finishing, as we just heard, was Michael Dorsey, who picks up the win, the driver out of West Virginia. He'll sit there in the number 1 spot and relish this one, the first career win tonight. Sitting second was Chris Grosso. Keith Haney was third, followed by David Howard Jr. and Brad Hicks in car number 86, running out the top 5. Justin McDuff would bring car number 20 home in the 6th spot. Eric Ferrilli 7th. Justin Kern would finish 8th, and David Gainforth and Daniel Haney rounding out the top 10.
In 11th tonight, you have James Haney. Joe Owen will finish 12th tonight. Stephen Bird will finish 13th. Travis Wall will finish in the 14th spot. Adam Baker able to pull a 15th place finish tonight. Joe Mitchell will finish 1 lap down in 16th. Jim Locking will join him 1 lap down in 17th. Chris Simard will finish 1 lap down as well in 18th. Jeff Glockner, I believe, is 1 lap down as well in 19th. Dean Viney will round out your top 20 in 20th.
21st finisher will belong to the 44 of Billy Waters, and the rest of these drivers had either troubles or did not finish. Len McNeese finishing 22nd, Paul Zoda 23rd, Jackson Allen in 24th after leading a handful of laps early in the race. Sean Lejeune would finish 25th, John Estes 26th, Michael Palmer 27th, Ryan Gamel and Ronald Etheridge taking provisionals here tonight to round out the 29-car field at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
But what a race out there tonight. Exciting finish. And you got to say, great driving by all the drivers out there tonight.
Definitely, and what a drive. David Howard Jr. coming in knowing fuel is going to be tight, taking the 4 tires, and racing his way up inside the top 5 to make it into the chase. He came in, he started on the outside looking in this race. He was uh, about 19 points out of the chase, and then after leaving here, he's going to be in the final 4. And it's kind of funny. The final 4 drivers in the chase, Steve, all finishing nose to tail between Keith Haney, David Howard, Brad Hicks, and Justin McDuff finishing 3rd through 6th here tonight. So it's going to be a tight chase. These drivers are all over each other.
Yeah, it should be a pretty good race as they head to Texas. But for now, we will wait until next week. So with that, thank you everybody for stopping by and checking out the race. Make sure to subscribe to MaxSpeed TV 3. Hit that like button as well. And we will see everybody next week. Have a great night, everybody, and have a great week.